Welcome to Cinema Bites, your go-to for movie recaps in a flash. Big twists, epic moments, all in just minutes. The movie begins in an antique shop, where a pilot named Betty enters holding a monkey-shaped toy. The shop owner appears and asks Betty about the blood on his clothes. Betty responds that the blood isn't his, and that he's there to sell the toy. He warns the owner not to let the monkey beat the drum under any circumstances, as it could lead to disaster. Betty seems nervous, and suddenly, the monkey starts drumming on its own. Betty becomes worried, but the shop owner doesn't pay attention. As soon as the monkey stops, a rat in the shop chews through a rope, triggering a statue to release an arrow that kills the shop owner. Betty is shocked and takes the toy outside, setting it on fire. After this incident, Betty disappears completely, and his wife, Louis, believes he abandoned his family to live alone. She raises their twin sons, Bill and Hall, by herself. Hall doesn't like his brother because Bill often mistreats him. One day, Bill and Hall open their father's closet and find many things, including the monkey toy. The box says to wind the key at the back to make the toy work. Bill wants to activate it, but Hall is hesitant and warns him not to. Ignoring his brother, Bill winds the key. The monkey raises its hand but doesn't drum, leading them to think the toy is broken. The next morning, Louis leaves the boys with their nanny, Angela, as she goes on a date. Strangely, the monkey is seen sitting on the couch. Hall notices but assumes Bill placed it there. Angela takes the boys to a restaurant, where a chef is performing with knives. At the same time, the monkey in the car starts drumming, and suddenly, the chef loses control of a knife, which cuts Angela's neck, killing her instantly. Everyone is shocked. After Angela's funeral, Louis talks to her children, saying that death is a part of life and everyone will die eventually. That night, they dance to lift their spirits, and Bill and Hall seem happy. The next day at school, some girls bully Hall, mocking him because their father abandoned them. Hall is too timid to respond, and they pull down his pants, leaving him humiliated. He goes home upset and finds the monkey toy on his shelf. Surprised, he asks his mother why she put the toy in his room, but she denies doing so. Hall becomes uneasy and starts suspecting that Angela's death wasn't an accident. Things get stranger when Hall finds the monkey in his school bag. His bullies see it and make fun of him for bringing a toy monkey to school. Bill joins the bullies and they throw bananas at Hall. Enraged, Hall finds the monkey on his bed and starts cursing at it, wishing his brother would die. He winds the key, and the monkey starts drumming. Later, Bill calls out to his mom, asking if the food is ready, but she doesn't respond. Suddenly, her neck twists unnaturally, and she dies. It becomes clear that every time the monkey drums, it chooses someone close to it to kill, and the choice is beyond anyone's control. After Louis's funeral, the doctors claim she died from an aneurysm. Bill is devastated and wishes she could come back to life, refusing to accept her death. Hall, determined to destroy the toy, uses a cleaver to smash it. To his shock, blood comes out of the monkey's arm, but it doesn't stop drumming. He eventually destroys the toy completely. Afterward, their Uncle Chip and Aunt Ida take custody of Bill and Hall, even though they dislike children. They move to the city of Casco, but Bill refuses to remove his suit, thinking another funeral might happen. On their first night in the new house, Bill looks out the window and imagines seeing the monkey. When he turns around, the monkey is in their room. Hall tells him he's sure he destroyed it completely and believes the monkey is cursed or possessed, responsible for killing their mother and Angela. However, Hall doesn't admit that he wound the key on the day their mother died. Bill somewhat believes him, but being impulsive, he decides to wind the key again to confirm if the toy is truly causing the deaths. This time, their Uncle Chip dies after being trampled by 67 horses in the woods while sleeping in a camping bag. The brothers are now certain the toy is cursed. They decide to throw it into a deep well, which seems to work temporarily. However, 25 years later, the toy returns and resumes its killings. One night, Aunt Ida wakes up feeling someone has entered her house. Armed with a gun, she searches the house and goes to the basement but finds nothing. As she climbs back up the stairs, they break, and she falls into a pile of fishing rods. She goes to the bathroom to treat her injuries and smells gas. Approaching the stove, a sudden fire engulfs her face and she screams for help, but no one is home. She runs outside and crashes into a sign, dying instantly. Meanwhile, Hall is now working as a cashier at a supermarket. He lives a lonely and dull life, having cut ties with his brother. Hall is content with this because he never liked Bill. He has no friends and avoids getting close to anyone, fearing the monkey will return and harm those around him. He has a son named Betty, whom he only sees once a year. Hall is divorced from his wife, Rebecca, who is now married to a man named Ted, a child-rearing expert. Rebecca tells Hall that Ted will take care of their son, so it's unnecessary for him to visit Betty. Initially, Hall disagrees, but Ted assures him that he is capable of raising Betty. Rebecca tells Hall that Betty will stay with him for a week. so he should make good memories with him because he won't see him again. Meanwhile, all of Ida's belongings, including the monkey toy, are put up for sale. A man named Ricky is intrigued by the toy and decides to take it. Hall, on the other hand, spends time with his son in a hotel. Betty talks to Hall about a project he needs to submit at school, and he asks him, "Do you have siblings?" He replies, "No, I am an only child." After that, Hal dreams of a nightmare where the monkey kills him with the cymbals. When he wakes up, he turns on the air conditioning. Bill responds to him, and at first, Hal doesn't know who's talking to him. But when Bill insults him, Hal realizes it's his brother. This becomes the first time they've spoken in 5 years. Bill tells him, "Our Aunt Ida has died, and the police said her death was strange. I found out that Ida's belongings were put up for sale. I'm worried someone might have taken the monkey because, as you know, the monkey can move from place to place. I want you to go search through Ida's belongings quickly." But Hal refuses, saying, "I'm spending the week with my son and don't want to waste it in any way." Bill yells at him and orders him to go, saying, "Take your son with you, as if you're taking him on a trip." Hal wasn't convinced by this and didn't believe the monkey had returned after all these years. At the same time, Hal sees a girl going down to the swimming pool. Bill tries to convince Hal to go to Ida's house, telling him, "The monkey kills anyone close to us, so make sure no one activates its key so your son doesn't die." After that, he hangs up on him. Moments later, the air conditioning unit shuts down the pool, and the girl who went in gets electrocuted, drowning the area. At this moment, Hal realizes the monkey has really returned. He grabs a pillow, screaming into it, wakes up his son, and tells him, "We need to leave here." He explains, saying, "My aunt has died, the one who raised me after my mother passed away. I need to go to her house to sort some things out." Hal didn't want his son to come with him, but his son Petey refuses and insists on going, saying, "I know about the adoption and that I won't see you again after this weekend's. I don't want to waste time and want to spend as much time with you as possible. Grandma Louise would have been happy to see us together." Later, Hal remembers his mother and dreams of being young and talking to her. But the dream turns into a nightmare where his mother's face bleeds and explodes. Hal wakes up in the new hotel and gets worried when he doesn't find his son beside him, but his son enters the room. Afterward, they head to Ida's house. They meet a real estate agent named Barbara, who was responsible for selling Ida's house. She tells Hal, "Your brother Bill told me you were coming." Petey is surprised because Hal had told him he was an only child. Barbara and Hal enter the house. Barbara tells him that several city residents have died in painful accidents, one from a lawnmower and another from a snake coming out of a hole. Every day, there were 1 or 2 incidents. Hal starts to feel anxious and searches the entire house for the monkey, but there was a door that wouldn't open. Hal feels that Barbara is stalling, so he doesn't get a chance to explain anything to her. Barbara uses all the keys until the door finally opens, but a metal bar falls on her, killing her, and her blood covers Hal. Nothing remains of her. Meanwhile, Petey wanders through the house and finds a picture of Hal and Bill as children, realizing they are twins. At night, the police arrive to investigate what happened. The officer orders Hal not to leave the city until the investigation is complete. Hal continues searching for the monkey. The house phone rings, and it's Bill. Hal tells him what happened, saying, "I still haven't found the monkey and it's likely someone took it. People in the city are dying in strange accidents." Bill tells him to go stay in a hotel until he contacts him again and hangs up. Hal suspects his brother is planning something. He opens the city's phone directory to look for a number registered under their family name. But he finds something strange, a number registered under the name of the monkey. He decides to call that number and hears a voicemail in Bill's voice saying, "I finally found the monkey toy I've been searching for." At this point, Hal begins to understand everything. Bill had taken the monkey toy and wound its key, causing all the recent accidents. The scene shifts to Bill, who is still wearing his funeral suit. We learn that when Bill was young, he realized that Hal had wound the monkey's key and caused their mother's death. Bill went down to the well to retrieve the toy but didn't find it, only its key. He had been waiting all these years to find the toy. In 2016, Bill found a note saying, "Wind the toy's key." He understood this as a sign that the toy would soon come to him. Everywhere he went, he imagined the toy's presence. Bill desperately wanted to find the toy to take revenge on Hal and kill him, believing Hal was responsible for their mother's death. And he was preparing his funeral suit, and one night he went to Bill's house hoping to find the toy, but he did not find it. And at that time, she also woke up when she thought that someone broke into her house. And what happened to her happened. And Bill, after that, sent Ricky to get the toy, and Bill turned the key and asked the monkey to kill Hal. But the one who died was the girl who went down to the pool. And when Bill tried again, the ones who died were the townspeople. And Bill decided that he would keep trying several times until it was Hal's turn to die, and he did not care who died. As for Ricky, he was knocking on Bill's door and saying, "I want to buy the toy from you because it reminds me of my father." Bill cursed him and ordered him to leave, and Ricky got angry and went back home and took out a weapon to kill Bill, but hollow. Betty Hall says to his son, I will call your mother to bring you back to her, because you are not safe with me. Betty said to him, but you will not see me again. Hall said to him, at least you will be safe with Ted. And Betty gets upset because he wants to stay with his father and takes him back to the hotel. And Hollow calls Bill and says to him, I found out that the monkey is with you, so stop playing the game because of you innocent people are dying. And I am not afraid for myself, I am afraid for my son. So Bill says to him, if you want your son to be okay, bring him and come and let him turn on the game switch, because whoever turns on the game switch never dies and grows up and turns on the switch until you die. And then you will stop playing the game completely. And here he was, not convinced of the idea. So Bill says to him, you have no other choice, or I am the one who will turn on the game switch and whatever happens, happens. Make your decision and tell me. And the door closes in his face, and Hall was not interested in his words and wants to return Betty to his mother and his house. He asks him, why do you act like you care about me, and why did you give birth to me in the first place since you want to stay away from me? Hal tells him that the decision to give birth to you was made when I was young and I wasn't aware. And Betty gets more upset by this talk as he feels that life has made a mistake, and Hal tries to fix what happened and tells him that he is very precious to me, and I want to stay away from you because strange things are happening, and I don't want you to get involved in them. Suddenly, the hotel door knocks, and it is Ricky wearing his father's police uniform and pointing a gun at Hall and Betty and asking them to come with him so that he can get the monkey toy back from Bill, and orders Betty to sneak into Bill's house and steal the toy without Bill noticing. Hal isn't able to object because Ricky pointed a gun at them and tells Betty, never wind the key on the back of the toy. Petey understands that this toy is the reason behind his father's strange behavior. Despite Hal's warning not to wind the key, Petey sneaks into Bill's house and steps on a trap that nearly kills him. Luckily, the axe misses him. This was one of many traps Bill had set up. Petey quickly notices them and avoids them all. However, he steps on a wire that causes bowling balls to fall. One of the balls lands on a device and stops. Later, Petey sees his uncle with the monkey toy, asking the monkey to kill the right person. Petey asks him, are you okay? Bill replies, I'm not okay at all. I need a small favor from you. Wind the key on the back of the toy. It's just a toy, so there's nothing to worry about. Despite Hal's warning, Petey agrees to wind the key, unaware of the consequences. The monkey starts drumming. At the same time, the tree trunk in front of Hal's car begins to swing, carrying a beehive. Ricky feels an itch in his hair, scratches it with a gun, and a stray bullet fires, hitting the car's window and creating a hole. A bee escapes through the hole, followed by a swarm that attacks Ricky, entering his mouth and killing him brutally. Hal survives and gets out of the car, calling for his son. Bill orders Petey to wind the key again. When Petey refuses, Bill takes the monkey from him and hits him. Bill angers the monkey, ordering it to kill Hal. He tries to force its hand down to drum, but he can't. The monkey drums, and both are thrown far away. Suddenly, the monkey starts drumming rapidly, signaling a large number of deaths. Bill hears people in the neighborhood screaming. When he looks out the window, he sees a plane crashing, houses burning, and corpses falling through his apartment ceiling, including a bride's body from a suicide. Hal confronts his brother. Bill confesses, saying, I was trying to kill you because of our mother's death. Hal also admits, when I was young, I tried to kill you too, but we were kids and unaware. As our mother said, that's life, and we all die. But you've caused a massacre in the city. Bill regrets his actions. Hal extends his hand, saying, let's go back to being brothers again. Bill greets him and prays for complete revenge. But the game doesn't let him go in peace. It works, and the bowling ball blew off Bill's head, separating it from his body. Hal and Betty came out of this massacre safely. While walking, they see the corpses of the people who died. Hal decided to keep the monkey with him so that it wouldn't fall into the wrong hands and lead to more killings. They stop at the traffic light and see an old man riding a horse with smoke rising as if they came from hell. After that, they drive away in the car, and the last thing we see is a school bus where everyone inside died in an accident. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get more new videos.